Praise be to Jesus. Hi again, everyone. Charles with you. Here's a little mini update for you for Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018. Pope Francis began the Synod on Young People October 3rd with a homily calling for the Holy Spirit to renew hope and dynamism in the Church. Hope can broaden our horizons, expand our hearts, and transform those frames of mind that today paralyze, separate, and alienate us from young people, said Pope Francis. Hope challenges us, moves us, and shatters that conformism which says, "It's always been done like this," he continued. Well, there are people that say that the Pope isn't even Catholic, and it's statements like this that make people think that, he really doesn't have much regard for the tradition of the Church or even the deposit of truth. That's why he was elected. You get back to this St. Gallen Mafia thing, and but what really happened there, I suppose sometime, it might be when we're in heaven that we'll know what happened, We'll probably never know here on earth. I wouldn't think so, but, maybe so. But, things got to the point where there were a lot of very important, influential cardinals and bishops who wanted to change the Church, Satan had gotten that deeply into the Church and the kinds of numbers that it takes to really elect someone. So, he was chosen to reform the Church. So, they knew what they were doing, and then, now, in the last 5 years, we're finding out. But, I think he's talking about generally, conservative Catholics who, we paralyze, separate, and alienate us from young people. Well, he's talked about this before, that we're doing this, because we're working against the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is moving us to reform the Church, or, this sort of thing. So, it's always been done like this. Yeah, that's what the Catholic Church is about, Really, I think at the time he was elected, there were still forces within the Church that said, yeah, we have a lot of problems, but the way forward is not to introduce reforms into the Church. The way forward is actually going backward, going back to where we were. Getting serious, priests getting serious about what they speak from the homily, the whole concept of really challenging people to grow in holiness, calling people back to confession, getting rid of, we should be, happy to make, to not eat meat on Friday, or to go to church during the week if it's a holy day of obligation. See, all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of things that changed under Vatican II. And I think communion in the hand really stinks, I think it's very irreverent. There's a very good argument that why it's allowed, based on many centuries ago about how they did things, and people say, well, that part doesn't matter, it's what's in your heart. I don't know. I really don't like communion in the hand. I don't think it's, why wouldn't you want to kneel down and, be humble and say, what right do I have to touch Jesus Christ? And I used to be a minister of care at a couple of different hospitals. And, not that long ago, they needed they needed ministers again, and someone had mentioned something to me, and I said, no, I would never, ever touch the Eucharist. And they sort of like looked at me in a questioning way because they're still a minister, you know. But anyway, that's the way I feel. And I'm a lot more comfortable with that. All right, let's move on to the next story. Well, I was just getting ready to put the video together, and I looked at the first picture. And take a look at this. I guess it's some kind of staff. Boy, it sure looks strange to me. Very, I think, modernistic. Oh, boy. I can't remember. I've seen them a lot with, very odd-looking kinds of staffs. But this one here is really pretty strange. I can't remember the last time I saw him with a, traditional staff. So I just wanted to make sure that if you weren't looking at the screen at this particular picture, that you take a look at it. All right, let's move on. New sexual abuse policies that Canada's bishops have vowed to implement will focus on prevention, but will not include a mechanism to censure a bishop who commits or covers up an offense. More than 80 bishops and eparchs. Yeah, I should probably look that word up, but we'll let it go. From across Canada pledged unanimously to implement the sexual abuse document that has been 6 years in the making and is now set to be released. Previous documents established guidelines but required no commitment from bishops to implement them. Now bishops across the country have pledged to enforce these new national standards. If there is a complaint about a bishop, we call the nuncio, the Pope's representative in Canada, Gendron said. Today, that is what we would do. He pointed out the CCCB has no authority over its member bishops. That authority rests with Pope Francis. Even the president of the conference cannot discipline another bishop, Gendron said. Well, I mean, that could be a good thing. Maybe they shouldn't do that. But they call the nuncio. So, I mean, I think that's okay. I don't really know what they do here in the United States or around the world. What part of the problem... I don't know why I asked that question. Part of the problem is that they don't do anything, that, they just cover that up, and that's a big thing. That's basically, a really important thing about what's been happening. Okay, let's move on. An Indian bishop accused of raping a nun was denied bail on Wednesday by the Kerala High Court. The court said the evidence against Bishop Franco Mollicow was credible and that granting bail to the bishop would hamper the investigation of the case. So we've been following along with this for a while, so we'll continue to do so. Well, that's okay. It's a short update for right now. I'm just keeping up here. So enjoy your day or evening, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye. See, I almost forgot to remind you. St. Michael's prayer is coming up if you take a minute to pray with us. I was thinking like there's, I don't know, well, regardless of how many subscribers there are, I mean, some people have 200,000 subscribers, but, after a month of a video being up, they may have, only 10,000 views on it. So I really don't understand why people subscribe to a channel that they don't bother with. But so we have on this channel, I don't know, I think 30-something hundred, 3,300 or something like that. But, we get pretty good amount of views. We can get up to half of that number. So that's 50%. So, and that could happen just really in, in less than a week for sure. So, compared to other channels, I'm real pleased with that. So what I'm driving at here is that, let's say, we get 1,000 views on each post I put up. And if I put up 2 a day, so let's say just 10 a week. So that's 10 times 1,000 is 10,000 views. And, even if only half the people prayed the St. Michael prayers, there's 5,000 prayers. That's good. And it could be more than that, So, if we would all just take a minute to... actually, there's 2 prayers there for those of you that know that. The second prayer is even shorter, but someone actually posted that prayer, a woman by the name of Carol, if I remember correctly. I don't know that I ever even heard of that prayer, but I liked it, so it's just a couple of sentences, really, or a few sentences. So I added that. But anyway, altogether, it's only it's less than a minute. It's 59 seconds is what it is. All right, take it easy. We'll talk to you next time. Bye. And stay here to pray, please. 1 minute, that's all.